Right, welcome everyone. It's good to see quite a few people here today representing the membership. So it was a cold morning, bit of ice on the car this morning, wasn't there? Where you were was where I was, which was a bit of a surprise. But yeah, we've all come out. So this is the agenda, which I think you've probably all got copies of. Excellent. Right, so let's get on with proceedings then. So that was a brief welcome. Apologies for absence, Mr. Secretary.
Jerry Edwards, unless we have any others.
Vic Young.
Vic Young.
Vic Young, any more? Is that it? And the 1,375 other members that couldn't make it today. We'll have them on, all right? Okay. Let's move on. That's my next bit. So the minutes of the AGM, which was the last one held on February 18th last year in this very building. I think most of you were probably here on that occasion, weren't you? Yeah. So you should have had a chance to see them. There were some copies up there and they've been on the website for a while now. If you do want to see them after the meeting, they're still on the website. So we have a what's the word I'm looking for? Proposer.
Yeah.
A proposer for that. To approve them, that is Diana.
Seconder?
And a seconder, John or Andrew, who should we choose? John had his hand up first, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything arising out of those minutes anyone wants to mention?
Can we adopt them first?
Oh yeah, you've got to adopt them. All put your hands up. So no matters arising, so we're going to move on to the chairman's report. Don't intend spending too long on these reports today, that'd be great. So yeah, chairman's report. I think this has been a bit of a sad one really, so I want to just take a moment really just to think about Derek Edwards, who passed away at the end of last year, been our president and for decades has helped to steer the Car Club South East in various roles, including the chairman and latterly as president, of course. And then more recently, David Griffiths, Sussex Wanderers leader since 2014, and the Black Horse Natter leader, I've now learned, since 1968. So he's been with the club a long time, and sadly passed away in January. So just take a moment there just to gather your thoughts. Okay, thank you for that. Myself and Austin did attend both of the funerals, and John came to the well. It's the Natters and Wanderers got me thinking about those a little bit more. And they're really kind of the arms and legs of the region. It's a big region, stretching from West London right down to Kent, Dover, or down that way. And so it's quite hard for the centre as a whole to cover those areas. So that's where the Natter groups and Wanderer groups all come in. It's good to see some leaders here today as well from those groups. So they're keeping really the MG Car Club active throughout the whole region. And of course, supporting the main centre events as well is great as well. So we got back on track a little bit in 2023 after the pandemic. We had pretty much a full year of events, and we also had 2 awards ceremonies in 2023, didn't we, John?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, which was a bit of a pain, to be honest, but particularly for you. So thanks very much for all the work you did in doing those 2 awards ceremonies.
Gwen.
And Gwen, yeah, both, yeah.
She did swearing.
She did swearing, and we did that, yes.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay. But yeah, thank you very much for doing 2 awards ceremonies in 1 year. I mean, it's fantastic, really. But that has got us back on track. So this year, we're back to normality, and we'll only have 1 award ceremony, promise, in October. So quite a way to go yet, John, so you're okay.
Oh, I was thinking about it, yeah.
I mean, yeah, the events, they were good. They were quite varied again last year. We can have a little talk about those, or mention them when Andrew comes on and John. But, you know, particularly pride of ownership, concourse competitions. We had the Auto Solo at Filching, which we're going back to at the end of March. And that's pretty much full up. Now there are a couple of MG Car Club spaces reserved if anyone wants to take part. But we did have to cancel the Autumn Naviscat, which was unfortunate due to a lack of entries. Now, I don't know what happened there really, whether Naviscats are just not the flavour of the month anymore. People don't want to do that sort of thing. The spring one has booked, but there's not a huge amount of people on it. So that's something we need to think about as the year progresses on that. So on the membership side, this year it's actually stayed for us quite static, with around about 1,400 memberships, and then if you add in the double members, that works out about 1,750 people involved in the club in some way. And it's good to see most of them here today, of course. So, you know, if you work that out, if just 10% of those people came to an event, that would be about 140 MGs. 20% came, that's 280 MGs. So there is potential for people, if they want to take part in centre events. So let's hope more come this year, now things have finally settled down. So we are the largest centre in the MG Car Club. So we've got quite a lot to live up to really, and the original centre as well. So there's a lot of heritage there which we're trying to keep moving forward. And we want to bear that in mind as we move forward. Being a reasonably small team that do organise the events, so I'd like to thank the team that do get involved in the events, do the marshalling, the actual organisation, all the paperwork John mostly does. So, you know, it is great, and each minute thanks for them. If anyone else wants to get involved in organisation, please do. We're always looking for willing volunteers. We've been moving forward a bit and trying to bring the club into the modern age to a certain extent. Sustainability is going to become more important this year, and Will is over there. Have you got that thing you showed me?
Yep, it's on there.
This is a carbon offset which the centre is signing up to through FPHVC. And what it'll mean is probably about a 50p extra charge on our events.
That's the kind of carbon capture.
That's the logo, that's the
Logo.
carbon capture logo that we're going to be using.
So, for example, our Penshurst event, which we did as a simulation, was cost about £45 in terms of carbon capture for 100 odd cars. So it works out about.
Which works out around about 50p a car. So I think that's something we need to be mindful of as we move forward, and particularly as locations that we go to, a lot of them are becoming very mindful as well of that, particularly National Trust premises. And this could be a way for us to try and show that we're thinking about that as well. May give us an open door somewhere, I don't know, but I think it's something that we should obviously be doing with our cars. We're also moving towards trying to streamline booking processes and going online for those. First example of that really is the MG100 South East event, which has online booking, which is booking nicely I think at the moment. You go online and you book directly on there. The Auto Solo has a online booking system which goes directly into the timing system, I think. So I'm sure John will correct me if I'm wrong on that, but so you just book directly online and your details come up on the entry system. So that's good, and we hope to try and expand that throughout the year, so saving on bits of paper and whatever. So we've got to move forward with the club. That's the theme I'm going on there. Part of that is perhaps with modern MGs, which may not be to everyone's taste. I realise we're pretty much a classic MG club, but the Car Club does cover the whole gamut of MGs, whatever they are. So it is very open to modern MGs. You see my EV out front there. So I was just looking at the figures, in fact, for modern MG, and it took old MG 76 years to get to the millionth car in the year 2000, which was the Golden Jubilee MGTF. So a million up to then from 1924 to 2000. MG now, last year, sold 840,000 cars globally. So they're nearly at that figure in 1 year. It's a big difference. 87,000 of those cars were sold in this country. Now that's a market that we can't ignore if the club is to survive, quite frankly. So we need to try and attract some of these people at least to the club. And I think it's by showing cars like this at our events that we will try, hopefully, get some joining up. So we need to future-proof ourselves, basically. But the club is still doing these competitions. We're doing them in the centres. There is the Naviscats, there's hill climbs, there's sprints, there's treasure hunts, pride of ownerships, concourse. There's all sorts of these, if you want to call them lower level events, that are going on. So the club has not completely ignored any sort of sporting. And to that effect, John is a linchpin now with the Association of South Eastern Motor Clubs. And also we're linking closely with the Seven Oaks Motor Club and the Maidstone and Mid-Kent Motor Club. And John does a sterling job there in keeping in touch with those. And something like the Filching Autos Solo, we're linked up with Seven Oaks to do that one. So there's a good partnership, I think, going on there to keep that sporting heritage alive. An area, and I'll mention this a little bit later, that has been very successful is our internet presence, the website, social media, and the YouTube channel, basically, which has now achieved over 60,000 views. So I'll explain a little bit more about that when we get to the webmaster's report later on, so I won't dwell on that now. The only thing I'll say about that is we could do with another volunteer on the digital side. John is now helping out on the Facebook page, but the website in particular is a little bit more technical. So if anyone is sort of IT interest, then we are looking for someone else really to try and back up me, because if I fall over, then that's kind of it really. So we do need someone to back that up if any IT type person wants to get involved. There's an opportunity there. Word about charity fundraising. For the last 18 months, in fact, because we started it halfway through the year before, I've been raising funds for the Brain Tumour Charity. And in the end, we raised £1,232 for the charity, which I think is quite a good amount to do. But we're going to change. So we will have a new charity, and I shall announce it now, I think, shall I?
Go for it.
Shall I announce it now? Yeah. We had a little vote amongst the committee and the NATA leaders. They all suggested various charities. which included, what do we have on there? Three Dads Walking, Motor Neuron Disease Association, Parkinson's UK, Prostate Cancer UK, Royal Marsden Hospital and the Stroke Association. And in fact, it's a unanimous winner on that one, on the first and second choices. We asked them to vote twice, basically, in case there was a tie. But the unanimous winner in both of those categories was Prostate Cancer UK. So that'll be, thank you. So that'll be the charity that we'll be raising money for during 2024 and into 2025. And we've had a start this morning, I believe. We had the raffle. Part of that was to cover costs for hiring this hall. And anything left over would have gone to start the charity fundraising off, and that's £50. So £50 will go towards the Prostate Cancer UK to get that off the ground. And let's hope that several events throughout the year will be able to raise a bit more for that. Okay, I think I'm done. Yeah, I think that was my last sort of reveal. So I think, yes, that is me. And then we're going to move on to the Treasurer's report next, aren't we?
Yeah.
So I'll give you the doobly doobly.
Oh, here's my card.
There's your card.
Right. Can I refer you to the first page of your 3-page report? This year I've given quite a bit more detail as to the accounts. That's who I am, just in case you've forgotten. Just in case I've forgotten. I don't know. And yes, treasurer from then till then. I quite enjoy being the treasurer. It's good fun most of the time. I mean, I've got a wonderful committee. I mean, people working with me. Even Austin is not too late. But there are some times when it's kind of more awkward. It's more difficult. There are issues that I have which makes it more difficult. And one particular example, I don't know if you read in the newsletter that Will produced just recently, where I mentioned the fact that when people pay by direct debit for a specific event, we're just asking for, in the remarks column, your name and the event you're going for. And the majority of people do this, but there are some who don't still. And it makes it very difficult for me to assign the money to the event. It's almost impossible. Last year, as I indicated, there was one person who'd given a 16-digit number. And I thought, well, is that your name? Is that the event you're going to? It's just impossible.
Swiss bank account?
And it just reminds me that it's almost like starting. Sometimes it's as tough as that. But not all the time. So let's look at where the money comes from. Typical pie chart. The majority come from the social events, as you can see, smaller events, competitive, bit of regalia and donations. That's kind of seems to be fairly typical over the years, as does where the money goes to. Excuse the scaling on the events social, 45%. That looks like it's more than 45%, but for some reason my computer wouldn't work very well. Competitive event, calendar, awards, 14% IT, regalia. That's the kind of typical spread of where the money goes to. So a summary. We're financially sound, but all of the main events did make a surplus, as in page 1. The majority of the regalia is now being written down. We now use ACE. About the only item of regalia we have left, I think, is the umbrellas, of which we've still got a stock of about 10,000.
2 over there. 2 over there.
£20 in who wants them. And we always try to reinvest our reserves in our regions or our Natter and Wanderer groups. And those items, as you can see on the screen there, are things that we purchased this year. So I'm predicting a stable future for next year, or for this year, should I say. Hello, gone too fast.
No, gone beyond.
So thanks for listening and staying away. Any questions on the accounts? Good?
Could I just comment, please?
Damn!
We made a loss, but after administrative expenses.
Yes.
And several items in the administrative expenses went up a great deal. And your notes cover some of it, but you know, we made 850 of donations.
Yes.
Which is generous, of course, and nice, but it resulted in the loss for the year. IT was a very big item at 600 from virtually nothing before.
Indeed.
I mean, would you say this year is exceptional on the administrative expense side, or how are we going to curtail it to meet our income in this coming year?
Sure. I mean, I've detailed on the first sheet the reason why the IT part was much, much more than last year. Tim mentioned previously all of the social media that we now use.
Yes.
That does cost.
Well, that's likely to be ongoing, that's my
Indeed.
point. And
Yes.
we didn't raise enough income to cover it, really, and
That's-
the donations were over generous
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
we made a loss.
That was, of course, the first year. So now we need to perhaps to set something in place to do exactly as you've suggested, to make sure that we do cover that.
Yes.
The donations were mainly for the figure there is
The
mainly
heart.
for the promotion of the calendar,
Oh, right.
which is obviously going to continue. So we're probably not that far away, but indeed that'll be something that we can discuss at committee as to try and bridge that gap.
And depreciation went up 400, sorry.
Yeah.
And subscriptions went up 100, you know. Is that ongoing?
Yeah, I mean, the depreciation is mainly on, we don't depreciate trophies, as you're probably aware, we're not allowed to, so that figure stays always the same. The depreciation is on all the other items that we have, other items that we actually use.
What, the tents and stuff?
Indeed.
Yeah.
They're depreciated over 3 years, 33.3%
Right.
per annum, so once they're written off, that figure therefore will decrease.
And it went up, I presume, because we acquired some assets.
That's
that
right.
needed
Indeed.
depreciating.
Yes,
Okay.
we've got a lot of assets this year, and as you probably know, as you come from an accounting background, the depreciation starts immediately. So yeah, I think we're aware of those kind of shortcomings, and we're perhaps make some steps to make sure certainly that we can bridge that gap for next year.
Yes, because your other comments are that events there were less attendances at events.
Yeah,
So that trend may continue as well. We don't know.
may well do. Yes.
I think though, Richard, you've got to bear in mind with the events this year, both our autumn and spring meetings were hit with bad weather. So that would have...
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So both the Luddingstone and Penshurst were
Yes.
pretty awful days, and it was quite surprising how many MGs actually did turn out.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thank you.
Okay, thanks for the question.
You mentioned that the interest rate in your savings accounts is quite low.
Yeah.
What rate are you achieving at the moment?
Well, certainly, last time I looked, it was 0.01%.
Wow. Any view of changing accounts to a better provider?
We may well have to. Main Club of suggesting that all of the CRBs use the same bank, so potentially we might well be going to HSBC. Haven't been told to do it yet, but I don't know what the rates HSBC offer.
Why are you waiting so long? Why is Main Club dictating that? Because that's crazy that Main Club's also losing money at the rates they're achieving if they have any spare income.
Yeah.
It seems stupid.
I think they're just trying to standardise the financial situation here, because a lot of the majority of the CRBs use a whole range of banks, and I think it makes it easier for Main Club if we're all using the same
Put a
bank.
motion towards Main Club to change ASAP.
I'm sorry.
Can I suggest you put a motion towards Main Club to change to a better interest rate now? That's just, in today's environment, that is just stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we can certainly bring that to their attention.
It's just,
So all the cash or whatever is easy access, is it?
Yeah.
You don't fix any, I mean, you could fix a portion of it for, say, a year and get 5%.
It's certainly something we could look into.
Yeah.
If there was some money that we could set aside and get that kind of interest rate, then yeah, we'll certainly consider it. Have a look at it.
Ron, would you be allowed to have a separate instant access savings account combined with the bank account? For instance, I have an account with Marcus, which I've had for a long time, currently paying just under 5%,
Right.
and the transfers are within 20 minutes between our designated bank account and that account. Would you be allowed as a club to do that?
I don't know we wouldn't. Yeah. I would suggest we probably would be able to
I
do
mean,
that.
I think as it stands at the moment, the main club is not dictating what we do. So at the moment, we are free really to change
I
bank
mean,
accounts.
we should point out that the money we have is not ours, it's owned by the club.
Absolutely.
It's not owned by the South East Centre.
Sure.
But I would have thought a simple account like the Marcus account, which moves very quickly with interest rate changes, currently paying just under 5%, instant access,
Yep.
within 20 minutes back to your main bank account. At least you earn some interest.
Yeah. I'll look into that. Marcus. Not heard of it.
Yeah, I think there's no more questions on that. Thank you very much, Ron. That was actually very, very clear, I think, and you answered the questions as best we can. So let's move on to the Secretary's report. There he is. Oh yes. Well, we better adopt the accounts, I suppose, haven't we? Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, well done, Ron. So I propose to adopt the accounts from the floor, please. William. And seconder, Philip. And we'll have a show of hands, please. Lovely. Anyone against adopting those accounts? If there is, they can do it themselves. They get lovely, thank you. Now let's move on to Mr. Secretary's report, shall we?
Short and sweet. Just about everything that I've written has been said by somebody else, mostly by our chairman. I wrote my report before Tim wrote his, and he said, "God, what's left for me to say?" So he said it all. He said it early. That's great. With a bit of luck, you've all read it. He mentioned membership. I'll give you the actual figures. In January 23, the memberships were 1394. This is for the whole centre. And in December 23, it was 1389. So we were down a whole 5. Now, I think those of us that are optimistic can say that's level pegging. It is against a background of a general slide. At the meetings, I report the membership monthly, and it goes up a bit, and it goes down a bit, and it goes up a bit, and it goes down a bit, and it seems to go down a little bit more than it goes up. But as it is, just 5 over the year, I think he's not bad going. What else would I want to say? You keep your secretary quite busy. You kept him quite busy until you decided that you would like to front MG 100 Southeast and set up planning meetings with I don't know how many people on these planning meetings, and you decided that the secretary of the centre would be the secretary of the planning meetings.
Seemed obvious, didn't it? It seemed obvious, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, I used to be 6 feet tall. You didn't know that, did you? Anyway, I don't think there's anything that I need to say in addition to what is coming from the chairman and is coming from the event secretary and the comp secretary. So unless you've got any questions, I'm going to shut up. Unfortunately, I've got a question.
It's not a question, it's a suggestion. It was what Tim was talking about on the electric vehicles. And we produce all the programmes, but we get those out to maybe some of the garages. I don't know how well we get them out to the garages that we use. But why could we not produce an A5 sheet with just some basic information about the MG Car Club, rather than a full programme to give to all these people, and get it out to all the dealers that sell these cars? In an A5 sheet would of course huge quantities to produce, and in programme is probably a lot more expensive. And every time they sell a car, could they not give one to the purchasers at the dealerships? And I'm talking about, you know, however many they sell. Get them to the dealers. There's one on the Pearly Way. There must be loads of dealers around the centre, and just get the information out there. At least promoting the car club to the people buying these cars, and give them a contact. Just say, in brief, you know, the type of events that are organised, the type of setup we've got, etc., the matters, and you know, just mention it in brief, not a whole lot of detail about it all. And contact this for your local matter, or contact this for your local event, and just get some information out to all these people.
Personally, I think you're
way.
right in every particular.
And even perhaps do those to the garages, because I don't know whether they run out of our programmes, but you know, just hand out an information sheet rather than maybe a full programme, which is a lot to read.
We I think, under contact our MG dealers. Some dealers are much more interested in us than others.
And you might even get
But,
small sponsorship from some of those people if you spoke to them nicely.
Gosh, that would be nice. Yes, I think the long answer to your question is yes.
Right, I think we'll shuffle on, shall we? We don't need to adopt your report or anything, do we?
I didn't say anything really, did I?
No, that's all right. So we won't need to do any of that stuff. What's next? It's John Morgan.
Who?
Well, again, my report was circulated. I don't know if anyone's actually seen it or not. Just to briefly summarise, we just try and get some low-key stuff going on. So that's why we've managed to maintain the concourse and kind of ownership of the spring and autumn meetings. And we try and get some MGs into production car trial, which Mason and Kent organised. We miserably failed last year because there was too much going on, but previous year we had 4 MGs entering that. The spring and autumn Naviscats at the Association South Eastern Motor Club, they say, oh yeah, people want to do those because 12 car rallies are so full you can't get on those. But it's difficult to get people. I mean, we've got 11 at the moment entering the spring one this year, but quite why there is apathy towards those, I don't know, because it's just easy entertainment, a little bit driving around, not too much to do, like a bit of map plotting. But our biggest success has been this Auto Solo. Last year we had 11 cars, MGs entering it. This year I'm up to 12. I've still got 1 or 2 spaces. Of those 12, 11 are novices. The numbers they've done. And Auto Solos, everyone says, oh, I can't memorise all the routes for this test. It's too complex. Well, for an auto solo, you haven't got to memorise the route. I mean, yes, you are given the route, you can walk it and everything else, but the cones actually almost guide you around it because they've got cones pointing which side. Liz has done it, she did it for the first time last year. You didn't find it too difficult, did you, Liz? So, quite why people don't actually enjoy driving their car a little bit sportily on a tarmac surface, around some cones, a bit of a challenge to see whether you can get a decent time.
Such fun. Everybody should do it. It's such fun.
And it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, it'd be lovely for me to be able to say to Seven Oaks Motor Club, we haven't got space for you. Fortunately, they do make up the numbers because I've actually, last year we limited to just over 40. And at the moment I've got a waiting list, despite me holding back, I think it's 5 at the moment for MG car club members. I've actually got a waiting list from other clubs to take part in it. And one of their members actually emailed me and said, well, can I enter? This was the best event I did last year. And that's after Seven Oaks put a whole championship on of Brands Hatch and Ashford and so on. So it's great fun to do, not too complicated. And the other thing I have to stress, I'm sure a lot of people here have got grandchildren. Now grandchildren, if they can drive a car at 14, they can enter. As long as they've got a passenger with them who's a qualified driver, is you can have 14-year-olds driving, having fun, using the car. And I bet there's quite a few people who've got cars who'd love to get their grandchildren on the go, and they can do it. In fact, in things like Naviscats, I had one query last year from someone, well, can my 12-year-old child be my navigator? And the answer is yes. To the Blue Book, a 12-year-old can take part. So, you know, we talk about moving on, we should be trying to get families more involved in it, you know. More or less covers my report, but that's mini bit, that's on the website, and we're going to try and keep this sort of mixture of stuff going on into next year. Any questions?
I think a special vote of thanks to John for setting it up in the first place, because I know there's an awful lot of work involved. Obviously there will be a lot of work again this year, and of course the other members who supported it. But when John first floated the idea, first got the opportunity of using the go-kart track, I thought it was a winner, and that has certainly been demonstrated. And when we've got people like Seven Oaks District, very respected motor club, way going back to the early 50s.
It transpires that when they started, their first event was a race meeting at Brands Hatch, and it was the MG Car Club that helped them put it on. So it's gone full circle, and as much they're helping us now to put our events on. The new thing for this year is we're trying to use the timing app live system, which is you have to have a smartphone to actually run the event, but everything is entered online, or it's all automatic signing on when you enter, and so on. The only thing that isn't automated is we have to still do the bank transfer because we haven't got a PayPal account, but that could change in time. But we're trying that for the first time. We've got to have a training course of how to use the stopwatch on your phone and stuff, but we're trying to move with that.
Thank you, thanks.
Lovely. Thank you very much, John. Okay. Who's next? Oh, it's Andrew. Come to the front, Andrew. Let everyone see you.
He's put his tiny sort of report up there. It only takes up about the whole thing on the board.
First, I'd like to thank all my fellow committee members here for helping me do the events this year, or last year rather. As I said, it's been a bit of a challenge. It was mentioned earlier with Tim, National Trust now, going to some of these events. They're very anti-car club. We used to, as you know, you go to Poleston Legacy. They don't want to know, and most of the National Trust venues in the southeast, Kent and everything in that area, they're not interested. So we've got to now go further afield now and look at other venues. But saying that, last year we had some good events. The first one I would touch is John's event, Filching, brilliant, very, very good event. My son and I helped down at John's event last year, and I must be a bit sceptical about what it was. I didn't know what it was, but absolutely brilliant day, very, very good. So, there's still places going for that. That thing on, was it March, isn't it? Was it March 23rd? March 23rd. Very, very good. Recommend it. Brilliant day. I really, really enjoyed that. And last year also we did, what else did we do last year? A bit different. We went to, we did Lullingstone Castle as well, which we had done before. But again, it's a challenge to, as I say, find a different event which is not National Trust, and also try and get the price down as well. I mean, I think on that day we got it for £15 a car, which was very, very good, which couldn't house and gardens, and a lot of cars turn up. Similarly, we did Bluebell as well. Again, £20 a car we did that for. Very, very good. I mean, if you've gone for a couple for that day, it would cost you over £50. So we made a bit of profit on that as well, £20. And the other event we're going to do similarly this year is the Heaver event. The Heaver now, £10 a car. Very, very good. That's something that costs £10. I just looked on their website now. It's £20.40 per adult if you go. So it's £10 a car, so less than half the price for one adult, and that's according to you or whatever. It's a good day out. What else have we got on here? Sorry. This year we've got we're going to go to Horsley Place in August this year. That's on the 18th of August. That's for BBC Ghost Spain. We've not been there before, so again, another new venue. In September we've got Board Hill, and as you can see, and what we've been talked about as well, Centenary as well. That's in May, so that's a big weekend event there, which will be good. And I know we've got a lot of people and a lot of interest on that. Don't know if emails will get. Always open to new suggestions. As I said, I've just put the events together. You've got the calendar here for this year. But as I said, already later this year we're looking at events for next year, 2025. I believe that I'm trying to do that to the end of the year. So you've got my email, you've got my phone number, and anything. If you can think of anywhere you know of, or you think is a good place to go to, or you'd like to go to, we can start working on that now and get the list in the place, seeing if it all ticks the boxes, and just trying to negotiate a good price and make a good day of it for 2025. Alright?
Lovely. Right,
so
thank you, Andy. Any questions for
Any
Andrew?
questions, I was going to say? Any other questions?
No.
Or? No?
Fabulous.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. All right,
Thank you very much for all your work, Andrew.
Thank you, that's right.
And we move on to Scribe's report. William.
Ray is my partner in crime on both the newsletter and our regular write-ups in Safety Bar. Unfortunately, Ray's not well. He had a fall and cracked his pelvis. So the reason why I mentioned it, because he probably wouldn't want me to mention it, but he's stuck at home, he's bored, he's hitting the wine, and he wants articles for the next for the next newsletter. So anything you can do in advance. And firstly, thanks for all the support for the newsletter. We just keep wanting the articles and things coming in. So restorations, anything, particularly the personal articles about what people are doing with their cars, would be great. This time of year for the April newsletter after winter, things are a bit thin on the ground. So anything we can do. He's got a few weeks of being hobbling around at home in crutches. But thanks again. Always interested in advice. We try and put in safety fast items that are for people who are not on the internet will then be able to cover and see. We try and put photographs. I think with Safety Fast that when we come to the Brooklands event, we probably want a nice feature in Safety Fast on that. So we probably need to negotiate for a multiple page feature for the Brooklands event and try. I've noticed other centres doing major events, so we need to do that. But interested in any feedback, that you've got the joint email address, which is the Scribe one, that actually feeds to both of us at the same time. So Ray and I both get it. So when you get responses from that account, it might say Ray, it might say Will, but it's just the way, or it might say both of us signing up on behalf, but that's the way we run it. So we've got a joint mailbox for everything that's coming through. I hope generally that you're getting the newsletter out and about. I haven't checked with Tim on the latest open rates. I almost don't want to know, but I know that Natalie and Wanderers forward it on to their members, which is great. So keep sending it out to people and keep feeding us with articles. I think that's all really I want to say. The report is there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Will before he goes to sit down again?
So
Jenny?
many people are now receiving the newsletter.
I think I haven't got to figure out this time, but it's pretty much the same as it always has been.
I mean, it's quite a lot. I have to say the newsletter is quite a lot of work. I'm not that technically savvy. I mean, I can do it, but I generally land up, and even John's helping me out, and I've lost all this, or I can't find it, or whatever, and I sent it over to John. But it's a massive file. It finishes up at 85 megabytes before we start reducing it to what actually is sent out. So you can't actually send it to anybody to work on unless you do it as a Dropbox thing. So it is quite a complicated thing to do. But keep feeding us with articles. Thank you. I'll leave it at that then.
Lovely, thank you very much, William. We look forward to the next one, which is due in beginning of April.
That's it.
So the deadline on that is the end of March.
Yes.
I guess.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, so if anyone's got anything for Will and Ray, please do send it in. Always looking for things to put in there. Right. So, oh, there we go. Trophies and archive. That's Mr. Davis.
Well, first of all, I try not to talk too long. Gwen always accuses me of doing just that. Was that somebody supporting that?
No, supporting you.
Oh, right, yeah. Anyway, keeping it brief, obviously reference has been made to filching. I think as far as trophies are concerned, it's worth mentioning that there was a relatively small sum that we spent on providing trophies for the Seven Oaks and District people. I think they were quite appreciative of that, John. That's we will review touching them up for the future. However, when you look at the accounts, we spent a significant sum of money. What we're not prepared to do to save further costs is to send keepsake trophies out. As far as the archive side of things is concerned, I have been working in conjunction with Alan Wakefield with a view to getting competition and similar cars for our event in May. I think, and I don't know whether you want to record this, Tim and Austin, but I think Alan has done a real yeoman job in terms of competition cars. We've got 3 more cars that I don't think any of us have ever seen before. Sorry, John, you're obviously part of us. Yeah.
I'm just nodding in agreement.
Yeah, but Alan has done very well.
Over 60, isn't it, John? Over 60 pre-war cars.
Yeah. In fact, there's a couple more come through. Thanks to John Glover, that is, there will be a demonstration of race car setup, i.e. in the pits area. We've got Pete Young and his son Andrew, who of course is the race driver, heavily involved. I can't stress what the rest of the committee is saying, as much as it's going to be a big event. We want as many people as possible, and of course I don't think we've said too much along the lines of marshals on the 2 days. I know technically that's more down to that committee rather than myself, but having done it so many times under Brooklyn, along with people like John, the more people we can get to officially help us, the better. Can't really say much more other than the fact there will be some unique, but there will be some very rare competition cars. So it would appear that the word is getting around. And as I was saying to the committee this morning, the MG Owners Club are pushing the event in quite a big way. It's highlighted on their website with a link to the MG Car Club, and indeed I think even their own staff are keen to push that weekend. So we've got to make it a big success. Obviously we've got no Silverstone this year, so let's hope that everything falls into place, including of course the weather. I don't think I can bore you anymore. Gwen's looking at me as though I've been speaking too long, so with that I'll go and sit down.
Lovely, thank you very much, John. So thank you for all the work last year with the 2 award ceremonies as well. Is it me next?
Yes.
Is it? Right. I'm not going to go on like I did last year.
Oh, good.
I went on too long apparently last year. Yeah, webmasters report. I mean, the internet is quite big now for the club. Probably that is one of our main means of communication. It encompasses the newsletter as well, because that's all done electronically, sent out by email, and all these various other things we have on here. For the social media, the MailChimp there we can see, and the internet. So I think I'll start really with just the website. If you can see there the increase in traffic we've... There's a little button there. Oh no, hang on. It's difficult to press that one. So you see there the increase in website traffic from 2019, really. It was when it first started. It was actually a bit of a blip because it was quite a new thing, I think. So people were interested in going to look at it, but then that dropped off with possibly a lack of content and a lack of being updated at that point. And now it's taken off again, and quite a big increase, as you can see, on 2022 there. So that's pretty successful. We took it to over 16,000 views in 2023. I think it was just over 12,000 in 2022. So that's something like a 22% increase over the year, which is good. If that continues, that's great. The thing to say about the website perhaps is they're not all members, obviously. It's an open website, anyone, anywhere can look at it. So we know where these people are coming from, but we don't know, whether they're members, and probably the majority are not, I would think, for that amount of views. However, it's still getting your name out there, it's getting the word out, so which is the important thing, I think, with internet usage, social media as well, particularly. The other social medias, the Facebook page is doing alright, that's increasing nicely, around about 650 odd followers on that now. So again, they're not going to all be members, but we do have a members only chat group, which if anyone wants to join that, that's staying fairly static at around 150 or so members on there. That's not really increased much over the year. Whereas the general Facebook page has. I think the big success is probably the YouTube channel, which the figures are popping up there for 2022, which you can see there, 11,000 views of the YouTube channel and 105 subscribers. That has now risen to 328 subscribers, and that 11,000 views there has gone up to 61,500 views. So a dramatic increase during 2023 on our YouTube channel. It's now gone up to 66 videos on there to view. The subscribers are quite important, that affects the reach on the sort of the figure side of things. So that's, the more subscribers we get, the more it appears in other people's feeds. So it's important to get that figure up as high as we can. So if anyone does view the channel and is not subscribed to it, please do so. But the viewing time, 600 hours or so, people have been watching the videos in 2,500 hours in 2023. So people are watching the videos, they're watching them for a bit longer. We try and keep the videos themselves as short as possible because people don't have very long attention spans. This AGM will probably get about 10 views, I should think, because it's going to be about an hour long. But we'll put it up there anyway, and then if anyone wants to sit through it, they can. But we're not expecting great viewing figures for that. Talking of great viewing figures, our best video at the moment is Bob Zanetti's twin cam, which has now amassed about 18,000 views with that. So a lot of those views, in fact, looking at the demographics on that, have come from America. About 35%, in fact, have come from America on there. So there's obviously quite a big interest in twin cams, MPAs in America. Obviously they're not club members. But again, it's a mixture, it's getting your name out there, all the videos are branded, so people can see where they come from and think, oh yeah, that's come from MG Car Club South East, I've got an MG, I live in Kent, I'll go and join them, in theory. So there we are, that's the success story. This is the same slide as last year, it just shows all the ways that the club and the centre communicates with you. There's a whole load of different things there. In fact, it's about 11 different ways that we communicate to you. Not all via the internet. There's things like Safety Fast there, which is obviously the print medium. That's the only print medium we have with Will. Feeds that with the monthly column. Personal contact really is what I put at the bottom. That's Natters and Wanderer groups. So they're a great way to get in touch with people and tell them what's going on. So a lot shorter than last year, you'll be very glad to know. That's it for me. Unless anyone's got any questions on the web to look up the agenda.
Do we promote any sort of communications at the events when people are behind the desk and in the marquees and things? Do we promote that sort of stuff? And maybe in our South and Centre notes, perhaps put a reminder every now and again.
I think we put reminders to view the website, definitely on the Safety Fast. We don't really put any leaflets out or anything.
The events and get people coming up.
We try. I mean, it's mentioned in this. There's quite a section in there that refers to the website for all the latest information, etc., etc. So in there it does go into it. You don't want too many bits of paper. That's the other thing. We're looking at sustainability. So how many leaflets do we want to be printing out and using up paper or whatever? Talking to people is absolutely fine, I think.
We could actually have something like that on the boards.
Or on the boards, something like that maybe, yeah. Okay, I think we're just about the end of the reports there, aren't we?
I think we are.
Programme for 2024 is available, you can pick it up. It's on the website, so you can see all the events that are coming up. Obviously the big one is the centenary, which is coming up. These are the main elements of the show over there, 3 main elements to it. The road runs, the Fair Mile Lawns and the Brooklands show. It is booking now, so if you haven't got your tickets yet, please do so online. And we do have a number of sponsors, as you can see now. Moss Europe, Cherish Vehicle Insurance, Rimmer Brothers, Church Square Autos, the Car Club itself and the Owners Club are all sponsoring the event. So we're getting quite a few sponsors now. It's taken hard work, hasn't it, Austin?
A lot out of stone comes to
A
mind.
lot out of the stone, I mean, it's really hard.
Tim, just to emphasise to everyone for the Fair Mile, the booth day is limited to 150 people. That's all they can cope with, and our tent only seats 150 people. So do book early to avoid disappointment.
Thank you.
The other thing is Jersey. We are 1 room away from getting a significant discount. So we just need 1 more person. The details are on there on a sheet.
Lovely.
End of
So we
May.
get that one extra person then.
Yes.
Try and push that a bit more.
Yeah, looking for a volunteer.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're getting to the pause, and we're going to move on to the elections.
I have to ask, are there any other nominations other than the ones that are on your agenda? I see you all rushing forward, that's excellent. The first election that we need to undergo is for a chairman. The current chairman has been nominated by me and seconded by Andrew Mitchell. Can I have votes for? Can I have any against? Can I have any abstentions? Hard luck, mate. No, it's back to you. You're on.
Right, it's your turn now. Right, the secretary. Apparently Austin Banner has put his name forward again, so we're very pleased about that. Proposed by John Davis, seconded by Diana, up the end there. So show of hands to accept that, please. Any against? Any abstentions? No, carried then on that one. And the third of the officers is the treasurer, Mr. Kemp. He's gone in for it again. Proposed by Austin, seconded by Ian Russell. So carry on that one. If you show of hands, please. Yeah. Any against? Any abstentions? Okay, so we'll move on to the main committee. So the following committee members have indicated their willingness to be re-elected. As it says, they've all been proposed by me and seconded by Austin. We'll do it en masse, I think, unless anyone's got a particular objection for anyone, which I'll ask for at the end. So do we have a show of hands to accept that bunch up there? Any against? Any of them? No. Any abstentions? No. So that's all carried then, I think. You're all elected, and we have a new member coming on, Philip, over at the end there. He was comped the last few committee meetings, and now going to go on to the committee officially, proposed by John Morgan, seconded by Austin Planner. Show of hands, please, to accept that. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No, I don't think that was a real one.
I can put my badge on there.
Lovely. Well, welcome, Philip, officially.
Thank you.
You're elected onto the committee, and thank you to all the other committee members who have stood forward again.
That's a point. No, they are. No, never mind.
I think we're getting to the end. You'll be very, very, very glad to hear now. We have any other business? Was there any other questions? We did have one from John, which he put on his registration form. At Penshurst Place there are 2 classes for the concourse pre-1990 and post-1990, and 2 classes for the pride of ownership. Is that a thing we'll be doing going forward? Is it a thing we'll be doing going forward, John?
I think it depends on the size of the entry, basically. I mean, we try and separate out the cars so that, it's very difficult to start judging a Triple M against an MGF or an MG3 or those sort of cars. So that's why we try and split it out to sensible groupings. But we've got to have enough cars to have a class. Concours tends to be a single class because you only best get 2 or 3 concours cars.
Well, I think that the answer is a maybe, depending on the entries basically. In fact, the pride of ownership for the MG100 is different. It's not that. So if you're going to enter that, you need to get your car registered.
Yep.
Lovely. So any other business? Any other questions from the floor?
Can I ask, can we have another treasure hunt? Because I really enjoyed
The treasure hunt.
And it was good. We did 3 villages, and it was everybody was walking around talking to each other, and it didn't rain.
It's in the programme,
it was a
Paula.
really good
Oh, well,
is it? Okay.
what the autumn one?
Yeah,
that's
Scanning,
the rain,
yeah. So I think that brings us to the end the AGM, doesn't it, Austin?
Yes, it does.
Have we forgotten anything?
Time, date, and place, not known.
Not known at the moment for the next one. But that brings the official proceedings of the AGM to an end. Thank you all for coming for that today.